With that, we bring in former Attorney General Bill Barr. General Barr, good to have you with us today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Martha. Thank you.
So we've seen Congressman Raskin go back and forth on this. He says that the investigation was started under your watch in the Pittsburgh division, and then it was shut down. And he says if Bill Barr has a problem with his problem's not with me and what I'm saying. His problem is with what happened at the FBI to his investigation, because they closed it in August of 2020. What do you say?
Well, Mr. Raskin is confused as to the process that was involved in the nature of the exercise in Pittsburgh. Actually, there were a number of investigations going on in the department relating to the Ukraine and in some cases relating to Hunter Biden and the Bidens. And in the beginning of the election year, 2020, I set up, and this is well covered in the news at the time, I set up a special process in Pittsburgh that was not an investigation of the case, but was an intake process to make sure that evidence that was pouring in was screened to make sure that it was credible evidence, determine its source, determine whether it could be disinformation. And we did that because we didn't want proliferating investigations around the country going into the election year, all relating to the Bidens. We wanted to, and we also wanted to protect the integrity of the investigations that were going on. So this was a screening, a clearinghouse function to check evidence out before sending it to the ongoing investigations. And in that process, and because that process was set up, they developed the information that is now in controversy, this 1023, and it did not, in my recollection, come from Giuliani, as Mr. Raskin suggests. It was stuff that was developed within the department and the FBI from confidential human source. And that information was checked out, and it was determined that it was not likely to have been disinformation. It doesn't say whether it's true or not, but it wasn't no sign that it was disinformation. And so it was provided to the ongoing investigation in Delaware to follow up on and to check out. Now, I understand a lot of Republicans are very frustrated because that investigation in Delaware has been going on for 4.5 years. It was going on for 2 years under me, and now another 2.5 years. And, you know, a lot of damage is being done to the country and to the department because of the silence and the failure to reach a decision. I think it's time to fish or cut bait and find out what actually happened in that investigation.
I think you're right. I mean, in terms of the way people look at this. And one of the things that really struck me is this is the language from Raskin's statement. He says, in August 2020, that assessment of all of the Biden-related issues that you discuss, that assessment was closed after a determination was made that there were no more investigative steps to be taken and the evidence collected didn't meet the FBI's standard for opening a preliminary or a full-scale investigation. And now I want to put that against, so that he's saying, you know, this is what the FBI does. They bring it all in. They decide whether or not there's enough to go further and bring it to a criminal investigation. And so that's why it all went away, according to this one interpretation. And you've given us yours, and you were there. Compare this to what Durham said about the investigation into Trump-related matters. FBI personnel, he says, also repeatedly disregarded important requirements when they continued to seek renewals for FISA without acknowledging that they genuinely believe was probable cause. But basically, Durham said there was no grounds to open an investigation. They didn't have enough evidence to open an investigation. And at that juncture, the FBI basically turned on the afterburners and, you know, had FISA requests going for Carter Page and Papadopoulos and all these people. At a similar juncture, it would appear, in an FBI assessment of whether or not there was evidence.
Yeah, but the critical point here is that the assessment that was being done in Pittsburgh was not the typical kind of assessment where you determine, now do we have to open a broader investigation? This was a situation where there already was a broader investigation, a predicated investigation. All this was doing, this was an assessment of whether the evidence should be passed on to that or whether there was some problem with the evidence and the allegations.
Yeah, but it's still going on, as you say, 4 years later. So the question is, what is taking them so long to process all of this information? And if there's something in there that suggests that it should go further, why isn't it going further at this point, 4 years later?
I'm very flummoxed by this and impatient with it, and I understand the frustration. There could be an innocent explanation, difficult case. Maybe they determined there was no problem on this in this area. Maybe the case has been sabotaged by the agents or the lawyers or other components in justice not supporting the U.S. attorney. I don't know what the reason is, but I think that's a legitimate beef for the people on the Hill. I will say that I'm not sure why they need the physical possession of the document, because we really can't have confidential human sources and their reports, of which there are thousands around the department, saying negative things about a lot of people in this country, and whether we want these things floating around Capitol Hill.
Okay. But one more question for you. When you look at this Trump situation with regard to the documents, which you have always said is the most likely area where you think that there is evidence for an indictment, what do you see happening right now? And it just really goes back to my other question. Why is this process happening so quickly in the middle of a presidential election? And, you know, the Bidens seem to have 4 or 5 years for everybody to assess all this information.
This was a fairly simple case, the Mar-a-Lago case. This is a case that can be done relatively quickly, and that's why I thought it's the main. Because it's a very limited question. It relates to one collection of documents and why they weren't given to the government once they were subpoenaed. And it's a pretty simple case.
And you believe that the charge will be obstruction based on what you've said before?
Yeah. If I had to bet, I think that there's going to be an indictment here on that basis. But it's not going to be because he took the documents or even had the documents for a while. I think it's because they believe that he acted deceitfully once the government tried to get the documents back. Okay.
Thank you, Bill. Good to see you as always, former Attorney General. Twice.
Thank you.
Bill Barr joining us today. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.